Alright, I think we're good to go. Hey guys, welcome to my, well, we've been talking about, been playing around with the new skill, or the new item, Wormwood. If you don't know what Wormwood is, just do a quick review. There is the guide down in the description that explains more. I want to keep this kind of short and to the point. 200 weapon, has increased poison damage, also has the second ability, Locust Swarm is cast on an enemy every second, which is fantastic, which means we don't need to run Locust Swarm because the staff will automatically cast it. The reason why this one has gold trim around it is because it's an ancient item. Ancient items are the same legendary items, but have 30% increased stats. The drop percentage for the Wormwood currently right now is about like 18.8% drop out of all the two-handed staffs you get. So basically, if a legendary staff were to drop, it has close to about 20% drop rate, so it means 1 out of every 5 two-handed staffs you find will be a Wormwood, which means it's going to be a good weapon or a good candidate to actually realistically get it to be an ancient weapon. Other than that, with all that being said, I'm showcasing the Grim Reaper build with the Wormwood. I went ahead and just basically wanted to show that it is a very good T6 weapon, or at least in the next season it will be a good tool when you start off with a new season character to get you where you need to go and start farming higher level torments and stuff like that. So just going to gear real quickly, we have the Grim Reaper build, which is basically going to mimic all our different attacks. If you guys check on the YouTube videos, I have a more in-depth YouTube Grim Reaper guide that shows how it works at a high level. But for the most part, everybody kind of knows how it works. Every time you cast a spell or you attack, let me see if I can get a spawn. You spawn these little skeletons, and they mimic any of the skills that offer your skill bar that they can mimic. So in my setup, they can mimic Acid Cloud, Court Spiders of Spider Queen, Haunt, and then also Piranhas of Paranado. The gear is pretty straightforward. Grim Reaper helmet, everything else is just kind of filler stuff. The only nice things I'd like to highlight here is I do have a poison increased Sage. I do have Swampland Waters, which increase poison damage. And I also do, of course, have the Wormwood. Everything else is pretty generic and just slammed onto this character. And it does, it's pretty nice too, because I do also have the Strong Arm Bracers. Rocking about 80% poison damage, 25% increased haunt damage. I don't even got haunt damage. Well, yeah, I do have haunt damage on both, so I guess that does help. But, I just wanted to showcase really quick in a quick T6 rift so you guys can see the Grim Reaper build in action in combination with the Wormwood. Works really well. And again, if you want to see more detailed information about all the findings I found with Wormwood, just check out the description. The main reason I did this, guys, because I just wanted to showcase off the potential of it and how it's fun to play and it's also efficient. It's not super fast as Jade or pet builds later on down the road, but like I said, it's a good introductory level build, like where somebody can get this item and actually use it to get further and start progressing the character, especially in seasons and stuff like that. I actually forgot to summon my zombie dogs. Everything dies very quickly. Like I said, this is on T6. I chose not to use my double unity combo because I kind of wanted to showcase it with gear like as if you're like new to the season. Most of the gear that I have is really not that hard to get because realistically you're not going to have like double unity and your follower relic item right away in the season. That's going to take a couple days mayhaps, but realistically you should be able to get a Wormwood within the first day or two of the seasons and stuff once you get level 70, and you should be able to get most of this gear very easily. I gotta be a little bit more careful, but for the most part, it's not too much of a problem dealing with the monsters and stuff like that. The Swampland Waters and all the increased poison damage, not to mention the weapon and the Grim Reaper, really just enable us to put out some good damage early on. And basically, with the big thing about it, and oh my gosh, I forgot to go over the skills. I'll go after the skills at the end of the video, just like I did with the other Jade build for the Wormwood. Is that I think what really makes the build really shine is that it's just the new Haunt rune, which is so good. It's poison based. It's called Poison Spirit rune, and basically poison based Haunt rune, and it increases all sources of damage on that target by 20%. So it's very nice. And I've been enjoying it a lot, and it's been working out really good in Jade build. And especially when you start getting your gems together and other things like that, it really just makes for a solid build where you can really get stuff done. Because realistic, at the beginning of the season, you're not going to have access to Jade, you're not going to have access to SMK, everything's going to be brand new and fresh. But it's with the addition of the Wormwood, what made it really cool was they actually added another item that has a lot of versatility, which can actually allow you to be able to do higher level rifts and actually get things done early on in the game. So I'm all for new items. that players can actually use in the early game to mid game. Maybe they're not going to use it in the late game once you get your furnace and stuff like that, but this adds another item to the list that will allow us to get to higher levels and progress onwards at the beginning of the season without actually having to get an SMK or without actually having to, you know, get those low percent drop items that every witch doctor wants, you know. So hopefully in the future Blizzard learns from this and they put in more cool legendaries like this, because so far I've been having pretty much a blast on the PTR with it so far. The weapon is solid, and believe me, man, now that I don't have to cast Locust Swarm anymore, it's made my life a lot easier. And personally, like I said, I just hope they keep making good legendary items like that. I like to actually thank the developer, whoever thought up with this item in the first place, because last season we had this thing called the Sacred Harvester, and what it did is, instead of when you use Soul Harvest, instead of only getting up to 5 stacks, you can get up to 10 stacks, and that item was really lackluster. Now some people might say, well, Debo, they did introduce the Dagger of Darts, but the Dagger of Darts wasn't considered a season only legendary. Actually the Sacred Harvester was. Now the Dagger of Darts have made it so our Carnival darts actually pierced through the target, and it actually took Carnival up a couple more levels and made it a little bit better. So in the long run too, I don't know, it probably could have been the same guy who actually developed the Wormwood, but whoever's been handling the Witch Doctor items, for the last 3 new items they implemented for Witch Doctors, 2 of them have been very good. So anybody, whoever does like the design for Witch Doctors, or in terms of just basically who develops their item, they've been doing a really good job about that, and I just hope they continue to keep putting stuff like this into the game, because it helps the game grow and it makes it more interesting and gives us more options. And I don't necessarily want to see more legendary items that are on the level of SMK and Furnace and different things like that. I would like to see more items that basically for a season, because they're seasonal items, to kind of make the player be able to get going right away, or offer them an alternative like a weapon or an item that really opens up the game early game to mid game, and then basically you're not going to be trading that item in until you get to the late game, or you've basically been about a month and a half, 2 months into the season, and you started to find like your big game items like the furnaces and then the SMKs and the ancient rolls and all your items and stuff like that. So hopefully you know, like I said, it just can just keep going down the same path. But I mean, that's pretty much all I can think of right now. This PTR has been pretty interesting in what's been going on. They did a lot of changes into the Greater Rifts. They fixed the mob density, and they have a new death system where basically every time you die, you get a 5-second added onto your respawn timer, and you respawn exactly where you're at, which is interesting. And it stacks up to 30 seconds, so like the first time you die in a Greater Rift, you can revive at your corpse, and you don't have to worry about any penalty. If you die again, then it's 5 seconds you have to wait before you respawn at your corpse, all the way up again, that's up to 30 seconds, and it caps out. And it's annoying when you keep dying repeatedly, but with that mechanic in place, I can't say I don't like it. I wish they didn't do it, but I kind of understand why they did, because sometimes it's depressing when you're afraid and you die and you have to worry about such a long run back. That actually makes sense. But to be fair, everybody has the same advantage, so I don't think it's going to ruin the gameplay. One thing they did do for the Greater Rifts was they made they put in 4, I do believe it's 4, and this might change towards the end of the PTR, but you get 4 Greater Rift, what is it, not Greater Rift, you get 4 pylons inside of a Greater Rift. So basically, instead of fishing for pylons now, players actually don't have to do it that much. You pretty much know where the only issue is where your conduit pylon shrines, and can you spawn it right before, or can you spawn the Rift Guardian right before, you know, the pylons kick in and stuff like that. So I don't know how that's going to dramatically affect the game. I don't think it's going to mess with it too much, but I mean, I've already seen things like some barbarians are like at greater level 62 with the raid course set, because I heard they got some items buffed, and now with the introduction of ancient items and improvements and, you know, fine-tuning some things, the barbarians actually can clear stuff pretty crazy. Like I said, 62 is a Greater Rift. They did nerf some stuff, so expect to go higher in the Greater Rifts, but with the Bio Awards that improves like the charge damage or something like that, or every enemy they charge in combination with the raid core set, they've been going pretty bananas. Again, I don't know if that will make it to live, but Have been noticing a lot of different changes for the other classes. Now, some people say that they feel like Witch Doctor was done unjust and that they actually deserve more changes. The way I feel is, I think Witch Doctors are okay. I mean, because if you look at it, we got the 0 DPS build, and we're definitely wanted in groups because we have a lot of damage amp. They changed one of our runes for Haunt to make it so that any enemy that we hit makes them increase 20% damage. So that might see some play in the 0 DPS build, because another 20% increased damage is very nice. And we still have the Jade set. Our Jade set can be cold or poison, and we have about two different pet builds that can do high level rifts and compete with Jade. So Jade has two different variations, cold and poison. They both can go toe to toe with each other and get to high level. Pet build has two strong pet builds, the Tall Man's Finger build and the Tickle-It-In Facade Fetish build, and those builds can go toe to toe, not almost to the same level as Jade, but they get pretty damn close. So you got 4 different variations, 2 different pet builds, 2 different types of Jade builds, so there's 4 different builds you can do. And so with that, and in combination, like I said, with the 0 DPS build, I kind of do agree with Blizzard. I don't think we need any focus, some other classes do, because I have different builds that I can run, and there's like also cool T6 level builds like this one, like the Grim Reaper. There's a lot of cool stuff for the Witch Doctors that we can utilize that other class they really just have one build to get until they can run their 6-piece set. I know that's just kind of how it is with Wizard. Like Wizard just really just runs one build until they get their Firebird set. Monks. I mean, a lot of the classes really do depend on their 6-piece set, and Witch Doctor is kind of like the anomaly of all classes, because we really don't need a 6-piece set to go successful depending on what you want to do. Now, if you want to go a Jade build, okay, of course you have that 6-piece set, but you can go like pet build until then and actually do quite well for yourself. So in general, I just don't see the reason why Blizzard has to offer us anything new just yet. The Wormwood is a really solid item. Maybe if they were to add one more nice Witch Doctor item that can maybe improve Grim Reaper, maybe an item that makes it so that Grim Reaper adds on an extra skeleton so you get 3 or 4 skeletons out, that would be pretty awesome. I'd like to see something like that. Maybe just like a legendary item that we can fit inside the build, not on a major slot, that we can actually combine with one of the other helmets that we have for Witch Doctor and utilize it all together. Because like the Wormwood was a well thought out item. Between the elemental damage on it, it being two-handed, and then the auto-casting Locust Swarm. So if Blizzard's going to keep making items like that for Witch Doctors, I look forward to all the future stuff they plan on implementing. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I don't know exactly when the season's going to end. I know when it's going to end sometime in December. I don't know when Season 2 is going to start, or if they're going to grant us a grace period. So we're just going to have to wait and just see how that goes. But as we're coming to a close of this rift, wasn't the fastest thing ever, but I'm trying to simulate, if you're a new character, if you get in these greater rifts, that showing that, Wormwood is a really solid build, and you can actually get a lot of stuff done and make a pretty decent build that can do T6 just by having a Grim Reaper and a Wormwood and some nice rolls, or by simply just, just trying out this new item and just, putting with sensible items. You can just really just get right in there and start farming for either your Jade set or your pet build. Next season, I think I'm going to be exclusively playing Wormwood just because it's fun to me. And I've already ran all the other builds, so it'll be something to look forward to. And then at least when I get on for the Season 2, I won't have to stress out about getting a Furnace or an SNK, because I already know that the Wormwood will be able to carry me up and do pretty well. I mean, you see the damage is very nice. 31,000 damage, the big crits and stuff like that, the spiders, the acid cloud, all that stuff. Granted, I do have Saj, I do have 80% poison damage, got some pretty nice elite damage, and I do have strong arm bracers and different things like that to amp up the damage. And then plus the Haunt really makes it possible, because the new Haunt with the poison rune makes everything that attacks that target take 20% more damage. So that was pretty straightforward. Excuse all the crazy drop rates. This is not how it's gonna be when it comes out. They just up the drop rate so high so we can get in and test everything. And I'm just kind of looking to see if there's any amulets or anything like that, because I kind of need to up my amulets. I'll go ahead and show you the Grim Reaper build real quick of how I was running it in this variation of it with the Wormwood. Haunt with Poison Spirit. Again, Haunt enemies take 20% more additional damage for all sources, so that's pretty freaking awesome. Piranha's a Paranata, of course. Spirit Walk, Lifelink. The reason why I run Zombie Dogs, you can run it without Zombie Dogs, run another Poison Spender. until you realistically get a double unity, you want to have the zombie dogs so they can tank everything for you and you just don't die. So you want to definitely look into maybe using that or something else, or maybe even just using Horrify to CC and keep monsters away from you. Acid Cloud, of course, with Allow the Bloms. Spider Queen, because you know the mimics can mimic that and cast a bunch of Spider Queens. Pierce the Veil, Spirit Vessel, Gruesome Feast, Creeping Death, everything pretty straightforward. Creeping Death to go with our Wormwood, so our Locust Swarm stays on the target forever. Gruesome Feast for the damage amp. Spirit Vessel, so we can have some more survivability until we get like that double unity, and also Pierce the Veil. And one cool thing you could do is if you don't have, if you have a Hajral wrap belt, you can actually use that with the Blackthorn's Notch belt. Oh, instead of the Blackthorn Notch belt, and that works pretty well because when you cast Locust Swarm, it will automatically slow them as well too. And then outside of that, the gems that I use were of course Bane of the Trap, Bane of the Powerful, and also Infectious Toxin gem, because you might as well use it because you got all that poison damage and it scales the dot damage of that gem upwards. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, Paragon points. All points in the end. Critical percent chance, resting at critical damage, armor, life percent, area damage, and resource cost reduction. Hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you guys check my other video with the Wormwood, where it's the Wormwood Jade build, and also the Wormwood build just with Quizzicoatl, so you guys can see how it looks on different levels. So thanks for checking out my videos. Look forward to seeing all this future content I'm going to have coming out for patch 2.1.2. And as always, man, thanks for the support, guys. I will see you guys later.